Eeveelutions, the slang term for the 8 single-typed evolutions of Eevee. Since the very first generation of Pokémon, fans have wondered what an evolution of every type would look like. So let's answer that question. So obviously we have the 8 existing Eeveelutions, which are Water, Electric, Fire, Psychic, Dark, Grass, Ice, and Fairy. That leaves us with 10 potential Eeveelutions. But before we start exploring what they might look like, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We do Fakemon content just like this every week, so don't miss out. Also, become a member if you want to show some extra support to the channel. Anyway, let's show off those new Eeveelutions. Starting us off is Mummion, the Ghost-type Eeveelution from the Liwika region. If we were to ever get an Egypt-based region, this needs to be a thing. It is by far the best execution of a Ghost-type Eeveelution I have ever seen. We also showed off this mon in the very first region review, so go check that out if you haven't. Next up, we have a Rock-type Eeveelution from the Mediz region, Marblion. This one is based on the Ionic columns of Greek architecture, as well as marble statues. This is such a unique take on a Rock-type Eeveelution, and it is my personal favorite that I've seen. A Flying-type Eeveelution is a tricky one. Many in the past have opted to try and mix in some kind of wings on it. But instead of going in that direction, Tubbs AZ went for a more elemental version of the Flying type with his Eeveelution, Floofeon. I love how he kept this mon simple but effective. Using clouds as a base for the Flying type works so well, and mixes with the idea of an already floofy Eevee perfectly, and doesn't make the typing feel forced. Next up, we have a few Eeveelutions from the Almera region. Starting us off is Marblion, a fighting type Eeveelution. I love the Street Fighter, Ryu, and Ken vibes it gives off. If an Eeveelution were to ever make it in Smash, this would be it. Next up is the Poison type Eeveelution, Toxeon. Turning Eevee's floof into a poison cloud is an incredible way to incorporate the typing. And the skull pattern on its head evokes that feeling of a label you would see on poison in classic cartoons. Lastly from Almera is Sandion, a ground type Eeveelution. I found this Eeveelution to be interesting because instead of trying to directly reference the ground typing itself in its design, it references a ground type Pokémon, Mudsdale. It is also based on a Kimono Girl, which is perfect given the connection between the Kimono Girls of Johto and Eeveelutions. So, a normal type Eeveelution is a bit of a complicated idea, because the entire point of Eevee is that it evolves into fun, differently typed Pokémon, because its DNA is unstable, and therefore doesn't evolve normally. But I have a concept I think would work. This is Eeveeon from the Brassar region. So I think a good way of keeping this mon fun and viable is to make it still have unstable DNA, and give it an ability like Protean or Libero. Or maybe an ability like MultiType, where its type could be changed depending on the evolutionary stone it's holding, each one corresponding to a different Eeveelution. This would continue the flexibility Eevee offers even though it has evolved. Let me know what you think of this idea. Next up are 2 Eeveelutions by Bad that take on some unique types for an Eeveelution. We will start with the Dragon type, Scaleon. What I appreciate about this one is how well it mixes the mammalian aspects of Eevee and the reference to Salamence in its coloration. And now, for the Bug type. Just like I said with the Meowth in our Meowth of Every type video, Bug type is a tricky thing to mix with a mammal like Eevee. But I think Bad managed to do it very well with Intoeon. It mixes the fluffiness of a moth with Eevee's floof perfectly. The little aspects Bad added really make this cohesive, like making its tail look like a bee stinger and the fur on its legs look like grasshopper legs. Lastly, we have Steel type. There are so many takes on this concept, but my favorite has to be Samurion by Solian. This is such a different interpretation on not only a Steel-type Eeveelution, but especially one with armor as well. I definitely could see something like this in Legends Arceus, or if we ever got another New Japan region, though that is probably not likely. But that's all for now. Let me know which one was your favorite. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And become a member if you want to show some extra support to the channel. With that, I will see you guys next time.